I'm here.
You are, and you're loud. Maybe I need to turn you down.
I was screaming a little.
Okay. There we go. Well, hello, everybody. We've got no wingman today, I'm afraid. So I don't have to be nice to Steve, I think is the rule. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, Kevin's feeling a little under the weather.
So we've got roll call here. We've got, they're sneaking in. Brett and Nick and Daniel and George, Ian. We've got Dorothy and John and Rose and Sandy. Lovely to see everybody here. Let me do a little... What's that?
Good crowd tonight.
Yep. Okay, let me do a little test recording. That's not going to work for me. References. Playback. UPnP. Blah, 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 blah. Let's try that again. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com.
Music is too loud.
To playback. That's not what we're testing right now, sweetie. We're testing whether you can hear playback.
I heard a lot of music.
Testing to hear whether you can hear playback. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan.
Ooh, something's going on there.
That didn't sound good at all. NosillaCast podcast. No, and I can see that in there. That's not good. Let's try this again. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. I think it's still doing it. Hi, this is Allison. You know why? That's not the right mic. I can tell. Built-in microphone. Should be using pass-through, right? Isn't it supposed to be pass-through? Yeah. All right. Try that again. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Technology Geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Okay. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted. Okay, and I believe. Oh, well, I don't have Nicecast on, just in case Kevin gets feeling better. I assume you could hear playback there, everybody.
I certainly could.
Can I get a confirmation? Now I will take the audio down. Well, that's actually as low as it knows. Oh, there it goes. 13. I can see it just fine. Oh, John is having trouble again.
Yeah.
Doggone it, John. Do you want to give him the YouTube link?
Yeah, like he said.
Oh, he sees it on the. What is the error he's seeing?
He's saying it's an unrecognized video format. I don't.
And he's on Safari.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know if he's on Safari. We know Sandy's on Safari.
He said Safari.
Did he?
Oh, Mavericks. Oh, he's on Mavericks. Wow.
Oh,
that's getting old,
John. Yeah, it's about 5 revs back there. Yikes! That might be a problem. Wait, 10.1.2? No. Oh, Safari 10.1.2. I was thinking iOS or OS 10.2. Yeah, might want to nudge that bad boy up a couple of. Oh, really? Yeah, that's a good idea to try Firefox. George will help you out there. All right. Well, we should probably. That's the wrong show. Let's do the right one. And I am incredibly well prepared, so things will probably all go in the turlet soon. All right, let's give this a try. Whoop. Oh, save. I guess we could save NosillaCast audio.
You can do that.
Oh, we have new lighting today. I've been meaning to try this for a long time, but do you notice this nice little halo of light around my head? Watch.
Ah!
Blinded by the light. Isn't that a song? So, yeah. What do you think? You like that? That's actually called a lume cube. A little tiny cube light that puts off about 8 billion lumens. So, I don't know. Just that'd be fun to get a little backlighting going.
And
all right.
And it's very natural.
Yes. I find it's
a hot white blue light. It's like a star went supernova behind you.
But I've actually muted it. It's sitting inside of a little plastic translucent Tupperware thing. So,
and it's probably on one of its lower settings. It's got 10 settings, as I recall.
Yeah, it's not at the top, not anywhere near the top.
Oh, good. Firefox is working for him.
Oh, good. All right, that's what we want to hear. All right, here we go. Muting
now.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, September 17th, 2017, and this is show number 644. Well, this week's Security Bits is not bit at all. I'm afraid it's more like gobs and gobs, what with Equifax and AT&T Uverse making our lives completely miserable. Because of that, I've only got one segment by me and in an interview I actually did with Bart on another subject, and then we'll tuck into security gobs. But first, I've been having a blast being on other people's podcasts in the last couple of weeks. I was on Clockwise with Dan Morin and Micah Sargent on their September 6th episode, Clockwise number 205, Candy-Coated Vegetables. It's over at relay.fm, and there's a link in the show notes, of course. Shelley Brisbane and I specifically asked them to schedule us together, and it was great fun. Love Shelley. We talked about keeping an eye on apps when they ask your permission for things like location, camera, and microphone. Then I asked what everyone's biggest tech speculation blunders were. I absolutely won that one with the dumbest predictions I've made in the past. We did, of course, talk about speculation on the Apple event since it hadn't occurred yet. And then we talked about what we load our tech up with when we're forced to go offline on vacation. If you haven't ever listened to Clockwise before, it's a really cool show. The theme is 4 tech topics, 4 hosts, and it's all in and out in 30 minutes flat, always 30 minutes. Anyway, it's a super fun show that I never miss, and it's really fun when I get to be on it too. In a new turn of events, I had the great honor of being interviewed by Brett Terpstra on his show, Systematic. It's episode number 201, which he entitled, Not the Man I Thought He Was, with Allison Sheridan. That's over on esn.fm, and of course, a link in the show notes. If you don't know Brett Terpstra, he's a brilliant technologist whose brain really works differently and at vastly increased rates from the rest of humanity. That's my description of him, at least. You may know him as the guy who invented Marked, a markdown app that aficionados of that language adore. Anyway, the interview is all over the map, from talking about my podcast to musical anhedonia to what we use to keep our dishes clean. I was super nervous going into this interview, but Brett made me feel really comfortable, so it kind of sounds like old friends just getting to know each other better. Well, in Chit Chat Across the Pond this week, Bart is back with another installment of Programming by Stealth. This week, we go over the JavaScript homework for our cellular automaton, and then we get our very last HTML lesson. We learn about HTML5 form validation, and he admits that Jill was right, and we find out how that will make our JavaScript lives so much easier. Turns out it eliminates a lot of tests we would have otherwise had to do for valid form entry by users. I enjoyed it so much, I've actually already started on the homework. You can find this episode in your podcatcher of choice under Programming by Stealth or the full Chit Chat Across the Pond feed. Okie dokie. Gotta tighten that up. That's been annoying me. All right, let's go find. Okay, what did I call this? Face ID intro Al. Let's put that here, maybe. And then we're going to get Face ID Bart. Pop those two together. So I did this really weird. I recorded me asking Bart a question, and then I brought Bart online. So it's actually a little bit faked. Look at what you learn when you're in the live chat.
Brought up something interesting.
What's that?
He started to install the Galileo offline maps.
Oh, yeah?
And saw the developer comments were in Cyrillic.
Oh, interesting. Did that stop him?
Then I realized he infers he stopped. Or I inferred that he stopped. He implies it, yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know if that would stop me. It's just a map program where I'm showing someone in Russia where I am.
Yeah, he stopped. Okay, that's what I suspected.
Wait a minute. There's a purple sports band? I don't have that one.
Purple?
Ooh, Sandy ordered a new iPhone. Yay. Oh, John's going to get he's smart. He's going to get the TV first and then look at the new Apple TV.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right, let me hear how this connection.
That's pretty logical.
I know.
Can't really
That's what I meant. That's what I mean by weird. Or the full Chit Chat Across the Pond feed. This week, when Apple announced Face ID on the iPhone 10, that was weird. It switched to my left ear because it's actually a stereo recording with Bart.
Is it time to mute?
No, I might play this a little bit here.
This is
most of everything is pre-recorded today.
This Face ID security one?
Yeah, this time about Face ID security with Bart.
All right.
Feed. This week, when Apple announced Face ID on the iPhone 10, I think they raised a lot of questions about the security of this technology. Over in the Mac Geek Gab Facebook group, somebody asked an interesting question. They asked whether Face ID would work if someone had one eye that focused straight ahead and another eye that looked at a different angle. That got me to thinking, what about blind people who often keep their eyes closed? Well, I pinged Shelley Brisbane, author of the book iOS Access for All, to see if she knew anything about it. She sent me a link to a blog post by a gentleman named Jonathan Morin on his blog called Morin Consulting. The article is called Face ID Accessibility. Apple offers some answers. In the article, Jonathan explains that he had the same question, and he expanded it to include his friends with prosthetic eyes. He decided to reach out to Apple and ask how the requirement for attention by looking at the iPhone 10 would work for the blind. Here's the response that he got. The iPhone 10 has been designed with a number of accessibility features to support its use. For voiceover users, Face ID will prompt you as to how to move your head. Actually, this is longer than I thought. I don't know that let me just check that connection here. And the other aspects of what we already know about Face ID. So Bert, now we've got a blind person here who's turned on voice. A little bit. Know about Face ID. So Bert, now we've got a blind person here. I figured it's time to bring Bart into the conversation to chat about this and the other aspects of what we already know about Face ID. A little bit long. If I cut that doesn't. Oh, there you go. X, that's right. ID. So Bert, now we've got a blind person here who's turned on voiceover, so automatically 1 in a million. Does that hurt this at all?
No, it doesn't affect that aspect of it. So,
okay, cool. All right.
So Bart says that turning off the attention feature does not reduce security?
Right. It doesn't reduce the security. You know how they said it was like 1 in 5,000 or 50,000 for Touch ID, and it was 1 in a million for Face ID. Right. He said it doesn't change that. It just changes when it will recognize your face. So if you're blind and you turn off the attention feature, then your kid could come up to you when you're asleep and get it to recognize your face.
Right. It's still 1 in a million chance of error, but the opportunity for it to be correct increases because you don't have to be staring at it.
Correct. Right. So you might end up looking, being near it on a table, for example, and have it log in. I don't know. But I mean, you have to wake it up by lifting it. So it wouldn't trigger like that. So
yeah.
Yep. Let's see. What are you saying? George is saying your 8 Plus screen is larger.
He's saying the viewing area is larger.
No, the screen on the 8 Plus is smaller.
That's
here. The screen on the 8 Plus is 5.5 inches. It's 5.8 on the X.
Well, he's saying in viewing area. I'm not sure if there's a little subtlety in.
And what's viewing area mean?
Maybe he's removing the ears.
No, I made my little table. Use Alexa. I'm not talking to you.
So I think what it comes down to, Al, is diagonal. The diagonal measurement is not a measure of area, and as you make something smaller and smaller in aspect ratio, tall and skinny, or the area goes down, even though the linear dimension can be larger. And on the iPhone X or 10, the diagonal dimension is longer. That's stated. That's clear. But the area can be less because of that very wide aspect ratio.
You're going to make me do some math here, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's what it probably is.
All right, let's get out the calculator. We're doing it. Let's see. So if we can assume that the aspect ratio of the phone itself, well, wait a minute.
The aspect ratio is different, and that's the problem. That's why you can't compare them directly. You can't just say, well, since the diagonal is bigger, the area must be bigger, because the aspect ratio changes.
Yeah. Do we have the dimensions of the screen itself?
I'd have to look that up, but
no, we know the dimensions of the phone.
No, that's not good for the
But
screen.
that's not good enough, because you got a lot of leftover space on the 8 Plus that you don't have on the 10.
Right.
Yeah. Where do you have the stats on the other I don't want to read somebody else's math.
George is looking it up.
No, I don't want to read somebody else's math. I want to see the dimensions and do my own math. I'm not going to read anybody else's. Jeez, who do you know here? Anyway, we'll see. I'll have to run that later. All right, I have a lot of reading to do here. Here we go. Let me hear what we ended with.
Precise these days.
Right. Okay, well, Bart will be back in a little bit with security bits, but I think I'll cut us off now on this topic.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Actually, so Steve, I'm going to do next. I was going to do my recording about a different view on the Apple announcements in order to separate Bart on one topic from another, but now I'm thinking it's going to sound stupid.
Because
because
of the ordering?
Yeah, the ordering. I'll come back and get that. All right. I think I'll do that up here and I'll fix that. All right, here we go.
So what are you doing next?
Hopefully different view on the Apple announcements. By now, if you're at all interested in Apple products, or even if you're not, you've been inundated with information about the new toys they announced. I found it interesting to be on the elliptical at the gym on Wednesday morning, and I could see all of the TVs that had any kind of news or financial shows playing. They were all talking about Apple. They might be talking about the Apple stock price, but whatever it was all about Apple. I don't want to do a rundown of what Apple announced because everybody's already done that, but I did want to make some just specific observations. First of all, Steve and I really enjoyed watching the event with a lot of NosillaCastaways in the live chat room. It was early enough in the day that our more Eastern friends were able to join in, like Skamar, I think his name is SCA. Actually, I don't even know if it's a he or she, Skamar from Greece. I love how international our audience is. You know, we're getting perspective from Bart in Ireland and Stephen in Canada and Terry from Holland and Rose from Australia and Skamar from Greece. Well, like I said, I want to go through what really struck me during the keynote. And if you missed any of this or you want to see it again, I put timestamps in the show notes for each section so you can go watch it at apple.com. Those timestamps, of course, are in the show notes. First of all, I was glad to see Angela Rentz get up there and back me up on what I said was true in June of 2015. She said they aren't calling the Apple Store stores anymore. They're Apple Town Squares. Well, in 2015, I entitled an article calling them Apple Showcases because so many times in a row I went to the Apple Store and I wasn't able to buy what I needed. I'm just glad she's finally lined up with me on this. Now, one funny thing came out. Sandy was in the chat room and she lives near the Las Vegas Apple Store. The Las Vegas Apple Store is in a place called Town Square. So when they convert that one, it'll be Town Square, Town Square. Sort of like Town Square squared. I liked it. Anyway. Well, I was really moved by the way they showed how the Apple Watch has changed people's lives. You know, they had a video with real people reading letters they'd sent into Apple about their experiences. There was a man with a prosthetic limb swimming, a blind man jogging, a guy who was really overweight and he's now doing marathons and mud runs. There was a geek who's always the wimpy one, but now he does exercises to be strong. There was an old man walking around his house saying his family thinks he's nuts because he's trying to finish his circles. There was a guy standing up in the middle of a cubicle farm at 10 till the hour. There was a ballet dancer monitoring practices, a father tracking his daughter's blood glucose monitor, and a guy was in a car crash and his phone fell out of reach and the Apple Watch helped him to get assistance. I tear up just remembering these videos. I get chills remembering it. It's a fantastic video. If you get a chance to see that, that's at about 19 minutes. Now, when you hear about most tech products being announced or discussed, you hear words like, blah, 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 Snapdragon processor, blah, blah, 6 gigabytes of RAM, OLED screen. They all just start to sound alike. But Apple shows you how it makes you feel. You can mock me for my emotional reaction to this, but I dare you to watch this segment and not be a little bit moved by the stories. Well, I'm happy that the announcements this quarter don't all cost money. We've got operating system upgrades all over the place. I think Ken Ray will call it, what does he call it? OS update a go-go. WatchOS 4 will bring a few things I'm really excited about. I work out a lot and I love tracking my exercise. But people often ask me, what's your resting heart rate? Well, I don't know what it is. With WatchOS 4, we'll be able to see our resting heart rate and how quickly our heart rate recovers from exercise. I wonder how it's going to do that because I don't wear it when I sleep, so I don't know when it's going to figure that out, but good luck to it. Well, these two things will be as dumb as sleep tracking if I don't study up on what to do about these metrics. I need to find out what an ideal resting heart rate is and how quickly my heart rate should recover, and then learn what I need to do to affect the numbers. I'm assuming I'm not going to be perfection, right? Anyway, it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking any metric about yourself is interesting and therefore valuable. Apple also talked about how they're starting a health study with Stanford Medical to see what they could learn about atrial fibrillation using the heart rate monitor. From what I could figure out, though, this will be an opt-in study, and I will definitely add my data to the mix for that. My mother had AFib and lived with the fear of stroke for much of her life, so it's kind of personal here. What if my data helps them later save someone else's life? How cool is that? Well, Steve and I upgraded from the Series 0 to Series 2 Apple Watch when it came out, and we didn't have a really good excuse for doing it then. Steve managed to justify his by flowing down his older watch to our son-in-law Nolan, and I decided it was critical for me to update to the 2 so I could use my Series 0 watch for screencasting for Screencast Online. It's important to keep these justifications in mind so you can live in your delusions that you need the new gear. Well, as it turns out, we got two big benefits from that upgrade. One being speed and the other being dramatically increased battery life from the Series 0 to the Series 2. As I tortured Stephen Getz on Telegram the other day, if your battery lasts all day and you go to sleep with more than, say, 30% charge left on your watch, then you are not exercising enough. Having the activity monitor going as long as we exercise really burns through that battery. Well, if you got a Series 0 or no Apple Watch at all, going to the Series 3 is a no-brainer in my opinion, as long as you have a giant bucket of cash to spend, of course. Going from the Series 2 to 3 is going to be harder to justify for Steve and me, though. If we were to just get the one with cellular, we'd get that cool new red digital crown, so, that's awesome. I just can't picture wanting to go anywhere, even out for exercise, without my phone, though. There's so many things I use my watch for while out and about that I presume I would still require a phone to do these things. For example, I say, hey, Siri, remind me to tell Dave Hamilton he's wrong. I do that all the time. Will reminders work without the phone? I like to receive Telegram messages and respond using the mic on the watch. Am I going to be able to use Telegram if the phone isn't with me? And I'm not wild about paying an extra $10 a month to AT&T for LTE connectivity on the watch. Heck, for $15, I can add an entirely new phone line to my plan. How do they justify $10 for sharing the phone line I already have? You can stream Apple Music on the Series 3 watch with LTE without a phone, but what about podcasts, huh? Apple, come on, what's up with that? Can't have podcasts on it yet? So as tempting as it is to always have the newest toy, I just don't see a reason to get it for us. Other than faster because the dual core processor and, better battery life because of the W2 Wi-Fi chip's power efficiency. And there is a barometer so it can count stairs and the new watch bands. And there's that red digital crown, of course. Maybe that's a good justification. Going to stop and take a little break.
So Daniel found something in your chart, in your table. The headphone jack does not exist on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus.
Let's see. I thought I said it doesn't.
Well, the one I'm looking at says yes for headphone jack.
Ah! You know what? Somebody had me add that recently, and I screwed it up. Thank you, Daniel.
Why would they have you add that?
They had me add the headphone jack row. I didn't have
Oh,
that, and I screwed it up. Will you, let's see. Hey, Siri. Remind me to fix the headphone jack at 6:30 p.m. tonight.
Good catch, Daniel.
And I should probably stop my workout.
Yeah. Working out tough there in the podcasting chair.
Thanks a lot, Daniel. Yeah, I had people ask for more features to be added to that, and I messed that up. All right. Thank you.
That's why we have an attentive chat room.
That's right. Right. It's very cool. All right. Actually, let's do this. I want to do X, right? There we go. That's what I want to do. Oh, so you're on, he's on El Capitan, not Mavericks. Good. Yeah, that's good, good, good. And hide AirPods under your feminine scarf. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Now let's talk about the most expensive thing Apple talked about in their announcement this week, the Apple TV 4K. Okay, I know it starts at $179, but there is a huge hidden cost in this device. Let me explain by example. Many years ago, when DVD players were first announced, I went out and bought one. I went for the lowest end model you could buy, which was only $200. We happily plugged it into our 27-inch square CRT TV. It looked good, but then we realized that DVDs had widescreen versions like, from the movie theater. We had been missing so much from the theatrical experience on the left and right of the screen. Well, that widescreen view on a 27-inch TV meant we had about 30% black bars on the top and bottom, and the stuff on screen was now wee tiny. It was like having a 14-inch TV again. Well, not that bad, but it was really bad. So we had to buy a 40-inch rear projection widescreen TV. We started enjoying our movies more than ever. Then Steve pointed out that the audio was much better on DVDs than it had been on our old VHS tapes. There was this fancy pants 5.1 Dolby surround sound that would really make the experience better. I didn't buy it. Personally, I thought the movies were loud enough, but evidently that was not the point. Steve went out and bought an AV or audiovisual receiver and a bunch of speakers. He got a center speaker, he got front speakers, rear speakers, and a powered subwoofer, giving us Dolby 5.1. Now, I wasn't convinced that any of this was necessary until we watched the movie Speed on DVD. Early in the movie, there's this car chase in San Francisco, and a car flies down this road going way up in the air as it hits a big bump. I swear to you, that car flew over our heads in the movie. It was freaky. From that day forward, I never doubted the value of getting good sound systems to watch movies. But then we started spending a lot more time watching these movies. I looked around the room and I realized that while Steve was happily reclined on the long couch watching these movies, I was on the little tiny love seat with 2 kids and 2 cats. I had to get a new couch. I got one with 2 recliners for me and Steve and a nice big couch for the kids and the cats. It was glorious. But you know what? That carpeting started looking pretty grim with that new couch, so I had to recarpet the whole house. So in the end, that $200 DVD player put me back several $1,000s by the time I was done. Now, how much do you think the $179 Apple TV 4K is going to cost me? Because I don't have a 4K TV. All right. By this time of the keynote, I'm already out of money unless I sell Forbes off to the highest bidder. And I think that might be Pat Dingler. I'm not sure. But just for grins and giggles, let's talk about iPhone. It would be really cool if I could just tell you whether you should buy any of the models and of the myriad of options, which one you should buy. But I can't do that. Everyone's situation is completely different. Everyone has a different financial threshold. Everyone has different things they care about. So what can I do? I can make spreadsheets about it. Now, you might wonder why a spreadsheet is necessary. Well, it used to be that Apple only carried a very few number of models of each device type, maybe a low, medium, and high version in perhaps 2 colors. But this time they're selling the iPhone X, 8 Plus, 8, 7 Plus, 7, 6S Plus, 6S, and the SE. That is 8 models of phones. And every model comes in 2 storage configurations. Each model has different sets of color options. For example, the SE, 6S, and 6S Plus each have 4 color options. The two 7Ss, 7s, I should say, have 5 options for colors. And the iPhone 8 has 3. The iPhones 8 have 3 different color options. And the new iPhone 10 has only 2 colors. Heck, I just had to make a spreadsheet to figure out that they've got 60 iPhone SKUs. That's crazy. Now, by the way, when I say 60, that doesn't count the fact that the radios on AT&T iPhones and Verizon iPhones are different. So those are 2 different SKUs for that. So there's probably close to double as many SKUs as I calculated. Well, that was the easy spreadsheet. The one to tell you what all of your options are took me the better part of a day. It was glorious. I got to play in spreadsheets all day. You know that making a spreadsheet is my greatest joy. And one of the reasons I enjoy it is trying to figure out how to format the data in such a way as to actually provide you with information. Anyone can throw a pile of data at you, but that doesn't really help. It's also important to leave out information that probably wouldn't be a huge swinger to someone's decision. For example, I think that telling you that the iPhone 10 and 8 have the A11 processor is sufficient. I don't need to call it the A11 Bionic, do I? Anyway, I made a table giving you the dimensions, the processor, the back camera separate from the front cameras, and then included things like security, charging, and water resistant. And of course, I included all of the color options. I embedded a screenshot of the table in the show notes, and it links to a high-res version so you can actually read it. I hope it helps some of you in your quest for information on the new and older iPhone models. I do want to say one thing about the iPhone 10 and Face ID. I found it rather interesting that the existence of Face ID on the phone appears to change not just how you log in, but how iOS actually operates. They demonstrated swiping up from the bottom of the screen after Face ID unlocked it to get to the home screen. But remember, that's how you get to Control Center, right? Well, Craig showed that to get to Control Center, now you swipe down from the icons in the upper right. He also demonstrated swiping up to exit apps and as an app switcher. I'm not against change at all. That doesn't bother me. In fact, learning new ways to do things is what I'm all about. What worries me is that the OS has splintered between devices. Let's say you get the iPhone 10 and your dad has the iPhone 8. He asks you how to do something, and you're going to have to remember how you used to do things. I think they're going into dangerous waters fracturing the OS like this. But I don't want to end on a scary note on this because that was a fun day for all of us. I'll give you a little spoiler. Steve and I will both be trying to hunt the wild unicorn at midnight on October 27th. Well, I guess it's 12 a.m. on October 27th. I hope we'll be able to order 2 iPhone 10s. All right.
The wild unicorn.
I need an emoji.
Kevin joined us. He made it.
Oh, hi, Kevin. I don't think I was mean to Steve, was I?
You were actually pretty good.
Was I?
Relatively speaking.
Relatively to my normal behavior. Let's see. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to take this and this. I wasn't going to put Bart back to back, but I'm going to. I guess I'll separate it with the little ad there. So
there's the save.
Save pod feet. Oh, you want to save pod feet?
Yes.
Maybe he meant save, comma, pod feet. Across the pond feed. I know if you're too long. Okay, let's get rid of that and go to that. Go X. Pond feed. By now, if you okay, and I think I just introduced a gap. Yep. Bang that one. No, let's see what that looks like. Save pod feed, collect the whole set.
Good, Ian.
I like it. Let's see. I'm rearranging things. Oh, come on. Justification. Now let's talk about the most. Okay, that one's good. All righty. And then what do we do here?
Ah!
Oh, did I lean over? Sorry. Actually, that might be the first time Kevin has seen the
the backlight.
Yeah.
So I think who was it? Nick may have pointed out that backlight makes it look like you have a lot more gray hair than you really do.
Oh, does it?
The highlighting is kind of it's so bright, it's kind of a bluish gray color.
Let's see. I have to move it over here to see it. Let me see it. Yep. Yeah, no, I've been pretty lucky on the gray hair front. Actually, I've got the saturation so high that you can't even see the color of my hair. What is that all about, Tesla?
Someone's got their collar on.
Yeah, someone. Tesla. All right.
Is she collarless now? No jewelry?
Yep. Okay, now I got to go back and check this. Okay, no talking. I got to check this audio. 7th. I hope we'll be able to order 2 iPhone 10s. This week, when Apple announced... That's going to sound weird. Oh, well. So I sort of am going to jump back into it, the same topic now. Able to order 2 iPhone 10s. I hope we'll be able to order 2 iPhone 10s. This week, when Apple announced Face ID on the iPhone 10, I think they raised a lot of questions about the security of this technology. All right, well, luckily I said at the beginning of the show that was going to be there.
Reverse the order?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was weird without it. We already know about Face ID. So, Bert, okay, good. I like it. I like it better like that. Okay, and now what am I doing next? I'm going to do an ad. You're going to love this ad. I do ads like nobody else. Not an ad, but a plug for the old Patreon. Okay. See, I can do this, can't I? This topic.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Well, one of the best ways to support the Podfeet podcast is through Patreon. Here's a feature I bet you wouldn't think I would ever tell you about. Let's say you're feeling generous and you set up a recurring donation to the show via Patreon. But later on, you think that maybe you've kind of overextended yourself. Did you know you can lower your pledge? Out of all the people who have pledged to support the show, only 2 people have done this, but it actually made me feel good when I got noticed that they said they had control. No, I changed that. I don't like that. I like the way I said it. Don't reword it. It read fine the way it was. But I think I'll cut us off now on this topic.
Okay, talk to you soon.
All right, don't worry. Bart will be back in just a moment. Well, one of the best ways to support the Podfeet podcast is through Patreon. Now, here's a feature I bet you wouldn't think I would ever tell you about. Let's say you're feeling generous and you set up a recurring donation to the show via Patreon. But later on, you think, maybe I've overextended myself. Did you know you can lower your pledge? Now, out of all the people who've pledged to support the show, only 2 people have ever done this, but it actually made me feel good that they had control of how this works for them. I get a notification when you go up or down or when you do a new pledge or if you stop pledging. But like I said, it made me feel good that they had control of how that worked for them. That's really important. Now, maybe I'm an idiot for telling you about this feature, but it's what makes Patreon such a good way to support podcasters because it's all in your control. Now, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that you can also increase your pledge if you're feeling flush at a later date. To support the show through Patreon, go to podfeet.com/Patreon and choose an amount that works for you and your family. Isn't that a nice little ad?
Love it.
No? Seems like, what kind of an idiot are you? All right. Where is, what is it called? Not dumb question, security bits. There it is. Did I miss anything fun?
No, we're just diagnosing John's problem.
H.265, is that the new one?
Well, we're trying to figure out why he can't run it on Safari, and it could be that Google Hangouts on Air, which are run by YouTube, changed to H.265, which isn't supported apparently on his machine.
This is going to take a while to pull in. I should start this now. Hey, George. I wonder, I hate to suggest blowing away a Mac operating system, but you can turn that Mac into a Chromebook. In fact, you can temporarily have it be a Chromebook with, I'd have to go look it up, but there's a free download that you can put on a thumb drive that you can basically run like the old live CDs for Linux. It's a live thumb drive for Chromebook, and you could run it as a Chromebook. You could boot into that, go see the live show, and then boot back into Mac OS later. That would be cloud ready. That's it. Thanks, George. That'd be kind of fun. Fun little geek experiment. Save the audio. Is the audio in danger? Yeah, that would be fun to do though. Cloud Ready was super easy. You just download it to the thumb drive and then boot to it, and you're good to go. It's pretty cool. Chromium OS, VM, and VirtualBox. Yeah. I'm just thinking it would be. It might be faster. I don't know. That'd be fun to do too. I did run Chromium for a while, and I couldn't figure out anything interesting about it. But that might be just I didn't have a task, and he's got a task here, right? We could even help you experiment if you wanted to, and do a little fake live show if you wanted. It isn't faster to run Cloud Ready than Chromium in a virtual machine? Come on, it'd have to be. I think Cloud Ready would have to be faster than a VM on top of another OS. But George has probably tested both. All right, let me check the sound here. I think that's going to be too far. And your family. Okay, I like that. Now let's move this over about there. Okay, let's hear that. For you and your family. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots. We're back here again today, huh, Bart?
Oh, it seems like only 10 seconds ago I was talking to you last.
Yeah, so we had a chit chat, and then we had the discussion of Face ID, and now we're back to talk security bits. But look, yes.
You're not going to do the clarify post?
What clarify post?
Did I have the clarify? The future or lack thereof of clarify.
I forgot all about it. I forgot all about it. This is so long already. I think I'll save it for next week. All right. Yeah. Thanks though. I totally forgot about it. Yeah, this is an hour and 47 minutes. So I think I'll wait. Don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, I agree.
It's too bad. It's so sad. All right, let me do this right now though. Let me do in my local drafts. Let me create a new post on NC number 646. Do clarify. Okay, there. Now I won't forget. All right. Do you want to hear a little security bits?
Yeah.
Or should I keep moving? I gotta get to the beginning. Yeah, it was long. It was long. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots. We're back here again today, huh, Bart?
Wow, it seems like only 10 seconds ago I was talking to you last.
Yeah, so we had a chit chat, and then we had the discussion of Face ID, and now we're back to talk security bits. But luckily, not much has happened this week, right?
Oh yeah, completely quiet. There definitely aren't 3 security mediums to get through and a whole bunch of stories. Definitely not. We start easy, right? I'm going to start this off in a nice low ball. So last time we talked about the importance, or maybe it was the time before, but recently we talked about the importance of having AirDrop set to only allow your friends, or maybe to turn it off if you don't need it at all. And we talked about how to do that in iOS 10. Well, it's not iOS 10 anymore, or rather it won't be very shortly. So they're changing the UI for what happens when you have that sort of, what do you call that popover sheet?
Control center?
Like, that's the one. So there's a new control center in iOS 11. So how AirDrop is controlled has changed, and the good people at the Mac Observer have done screenshots and descriptions of the 2 options you now have for controlling AirDrop on the new iOS 11.
Now, what I also like is the way you get to Control Center depends on which phone you buy. Have you noticed that?
Oh, because of how much space?
No, because iOS 11, like iOS 10, you sweep up from the bottom. But on the iPhone 10, you sweep up from the bottom to get into the phone. So they move Control Center up. You drag down from the bottom right of the bottom right ear. I'm sorry, the top right ear. He showed that in the demo. He went, I was just like, oh my gosh, literally the way the operating system reacts to your gestures is different depending on which phone you have, which I think is a mess. I don't like that at all.
On the other hand, you're only going to have one. So I guess it's a mess for the few people on this planet who are switching phones all the time.
No, but you're helping your brother and he's got an iPhone 8 and you've got an iPhone 10 and you call him up and and you're like, okay, sweep down from the upper right. He goes, nothing happens. You're like, what are you, an idiot? Of course it does. That's where Control Center is. That's the way I would help
maybe. I guess it might happen the odd time, but it doesn't seem like a day-to-day disaster.
Yeah. We'll see.
I quite like actually the gesture. I like that those ears are useful in some way.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
sure. But you could have moved it for everybody.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing a whole new change that's unrecognizable. Well, anyway. Okay, so that's the easy one, right?
That's the easy one. So I just thought it was worth, given that we've talked about it so recently, I thought, oh, well, I should share this.
Yeah.
So the first security medium, these are in the order in which they happened rather than the order of importance. So you're a big fan, I believe, of Sharknado.
Love Sharknado. It's hilarious.
Well, someone managed to batter and beat Sharknado into a sort of a pseudo acronym. So it's Shark-and-AT&T-O. Basically, AT&T problems.
Okay.
So this affects people who have AT&T as their broadband provider, and it affects a large array of different, I think it's U versus the product.
Oh, okay.
And then depending on which Uverse subscriber you are or when you signed up, you will have received a router from AT&T,
right.
and it will be a different model depending on where, when, etc. But many of these routers, not just a few, many of these routers have nasty security vulnerabilities in them.
Oh, no.
It's not just a vulnerability, it's a suite of vulnerabilities. And some routers are vulnerable to all four, some only to one or two, some to, how terrible things are varies depending on which router you have. However, the security researcher disclosed them in the blog post in dramatic style from least disastrous to most. And his starting point, so the least bad, is hard-coded root SSH account access. So in other words, access to SSH as the user root with a hard-coded password visible from the WAN.
Are you kidding me? That's the
Nope.
least?
That's where it starts.
Wait a minute. So let me make sure I understand this. I'm a bad actor out on the internet, and I can see the WAN side of the router, right? The WAN side, that's the wide area network.
Internet.
That's the internet side. And there's a hard-coded SSH password into it. So I own you.
Yes, correct. Yes, you
How
own the
could
router.
it be worse? Is the next thing it lights your house on fire? Sorry, I made myself laugh.
Quite, but one of the things that we have come to expect from our routers is that they act as one-way valves.
Yeah.
It's a side effect of NAT that in theory, it's a many-to-one, so there should be no way to go from the outside in and pick a specific device to target.
Right.
So you can go from the inside out, but not the outside in. Well, AT&T, in an attempt to make it easier for them to manage things like set-top boxes within your network, decided that was a problem to be solved, and they solved it successfully and completely insecurely. So using a reverse proxy that is listening on the WAN side and using the MAC address as part of the URL, you can, from the outside, reach into any device on the inside if you know its MAC address. And MAC addresses are half defined by the vendor, so it doesn't actually take much brute forcing to find every iPad in a house.
So how is that worse than being able to SSH in? I mean, SSH
well, it means that you're not
network.
Just getting onto the router. You're not just getting into the router where you can sort of poke around with the router's OS and spy on the non-encrypted traffic and maybe have some shenanigans with DNS. You're now able without even needing that. So there are some workarounds for stopping the SSH thing. You can SSH into your own router and run a command to turn off the SSH daemon. So basically, some of the workarounds presented by the security researcher allow you to counteract some of the early stuff. There's no way to stop this particular one. So then people from the outside can reach in and start directly accessing your iPhone or your Apple TV or whatever you're having yourself from the internet. And that's supposed to be completely impossible. Like that's completely the whole point, is that you're not supposed to be able to.
All right. I tried to Get in that way, Brett, and I can't quite see how to do it into your Plex server. So I logged in as you, but then it still asked me for, how do I see it? I can see I'm logged in as B. Kennedy Guest. Brett is, for those watching this later, Brett in the chat room shared his Plex server guest login for us so that we could see his trip thing from his trip to Europe, but I don't know quite about that. The Awfuls comment, nice. I should probably click on launch. Oh, no, it's saying it says select user after I say launch, and then it wants my login after that. I think it's gonna log me into my own server after that. Limited connection to Rebel Plex.
So I was able to log in. Are you in as Brett Kennedy Guest?
I am.
Oh, okay.
But then I got limited connection to Rebel connection, but it wants me to. I did use Brett's login.
Okay.
But then it takes me to saying, showing my like I got to put my pin in. Oh, well, I should probably finish the show is what I should probably be doing. Maybe I can watch it from Steve.
Did you hit launch?
Yes.
And then when I do that, it brings up the libraries, including 4 videos.
When I do it, it changes it to select user. NosillaCast, L. Tondi, or KP Sheridan.
Huh.
Yeah. It's probably because I have an account, which we should get rid of. I can't
maybe
get
you're logged into your other account.
No, I'm logged in as Brett. Okay. I can do screenshots. I will stop the show because Dad.
Why don't you finish the show?
Steve does not believe me. I call him Dad to his children.
His children.
His children. Yes, his children. What, Puffy? Maybe you need to log out from your account first. But it says I'm logged in as you.
Maybe you're logged in twice.
Okay. What was that little app I liked? Here it is. Take snapshot. It showed me a second ago that I was logged in as you. So I've got this. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to succumb to Steve telling me I'm wrong. I am going to keep going because I'm a professional. Let me finish the show preview. Here we go. All right. You'd think I'd know the ending by now, but here we go. I didn't think it would be the kind of week we should try to rush through any of that big stuff. So okay, get rid of that and do a little bit later here.
One of those.
All right, we should let people go. We've held them after class long enough.
Okie dokie. Well, until next time, stay patched and stay secure.
Well, that's obviously going to wind us up this week after an hour and 47 minutes. Thank you for staying to the end. And do not forget to send in your dumb questions. Haven't had a dumb question in a really long time. You can send those and your comments and suggestions to me at allison@podfeet.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, check it out at Podfeet. And remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com/whatever it is you're looking for. You want to donate to Patreon? Podfeet.com/Patreon. You want to check out the Facebook group and get into that discussion. A lot of people joining in there, having a lot of fun. It's at podfeet.com/Facebook. Don't forget Google Plus is still alive and well at podfeet.com/Google Plus. If you want to check out the Amazon affiliate links, go to podfeet.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, which is always a good time, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCast castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. And you are not muted, Steve. I could hear you laughing. Now you're muted.
I'm 180 degrees out of phase.
Yeah, that's like when you take a video of your foot because you
like a 2-minute video of my foot.
Yeah.
And then right as I'm pulling the camera up, it stops.
Yeah. All of us who haven't done that before.
I've never done that. I wouldn't even know what that looks like.
Nope. All right, let me bring that down. Bring it down there, down like that, and we'll bring this over like that. Steve is right. Podfeet is wrong. Yes, absolutely. I think I got Kevin to get up out of his sick bed to come here just because I said I was going to do whatever I wanted to Steve. But yeah. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. You know, I do all this work to set the levels of the music, and I bet it doesn't even matter. I think Alphonic is fixing all of it in the end. All right, file, export, hour and 48 minutes. I wonder if anybody's going to hear that outro. I said, thanks for staying to the end. But it's all Bart, so they probably stayed to the end. Nobody wanted to see the light, huh?
Well, everyone kind of recoiled when they saw it.
They were afraid I was going to show it to them?
Yeah.
I want to show it to you. It's cool. Close your eyes, because I'm going to move. So I'm going to show it to you sideways. So I've got it in a, whoa, that's bright. Just, okay. I have to turn the light off without it. So it does get brighter. Yeah. Man, it's like 7 from the top. It's like I've got a nuclear waste thing. Right there. Nope. It just went down to the lowest level. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it when it's at the lowest level. So that's the lowest level.
That's a nice natural light there, Potsy.
So this is called the Lume Cube. On the back, it's got a, let's see, I got to get it where you're in the light enough. There you go. It's got a little screw mount thing there that lets you get to the USB charger port, micro USB. And then it's got 2 buttons on the front, on the top here. One makes it flash and one changes the brightness level. And then there's
like
the back.
10 levels, right?
I think. Let me see if I can get it to go. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Then my hand. Actually, I need to click on me so that I
hand getting
there.
warm, Allison.
Okay, we're on 5, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
It's like
that is just.
And there it's back to 1.
Wow.
So I could just do this, you know.
Oh, that's a good look. Yeah, a little Frankenstein look.
I'm not sure how to turn it off though. And then this, oh, there we go. There's the up button, but you can hold that and it just blinks.
Oh, you could have that as a little special effect.
I think there's a mode where it'll, yeah, no, I don't know what that does. Okay. Anyway, so it was actually Andy Anako who suggested putting them inside a little translucent box, but I don't think that diffuses it very much because you guys want to see it straight at the lowest level?
You might want to use a piece of tinfoil to diffuse that thing.
I think so. So anyway. All right. Well, let's see if I managed to goof around until it's 5:57. It looks like we are all set here. The show is exported. We have saved. If everything good starts that way, Podfeet, where's the wingman link? That can be arranged.
Podfeet.wingman.
No, podfeet.com/wingman. I can make that happen. Makes
so what's going to be there?
You and I will discuss that. Who knows? We want a podfeet.com/wingman, John says. George says that's the hand of the deity. By the way, my right eye can't see anything at all right now because of this being that close to me. It's rough. Not complete out of bed. Allison just moved to semi-sitting position to protect the shield, Steve. Okay. All right. We are done. I'm going to close out. And good thing we left the live stream up on NosillaCast for Kevin. So I'm going to say goodbye, Kevin. And we're going to stop the live show. Say goodbye, Steve.
Good night, Gracie.
Oh, here. Try one more time.
Good night, Gracie.
There, you got to talk. Yeah, it's always a picture of him in the feed. I don't know why that is. Anyway, goodbye.